Hello, everyone. Uh, Welcome today to Mark Isaac Potter Presents. We're visiting today with the lovely, and I say that about most of my guests, so I'm not telling tales out of school, as we used to say back in the 1800s. We're visiting today with Desanka Djonin, who is a very remarkable person. We talked yesterday, and I frankly wish to God we had kept the recording. I had recorded it. I'm keep I keep meaning to. I'm putting on the timer here. I keep meaning to learn how to put a thing on my voicemail that says, "For quality assurance, you might be taped." Then I can tape all the conversations and put them up on my put them up on shows. I'm an addict. Just shoot me up. I'm an addict for shows.
I love
Desanka
that.
and I are doing 14 shows today and 14 more tomorrow. So
At least.
please introduce us to what's your lovely dog's name again? I forgot.
Abu.
Babu. There we go.
Abu, like the monkey from Aladdin. Or is it really?
Okay. I didn't see that one. I was going to make something up like it was
This was
French for ketchup or something. Hi, Babu. Hi, Babu. Hi, baby. Can she hear me? She can hear me, right?
he
She just
can,
doesn't
yeah.
recognize my voice.
Abu is my monkey, and he will steal bananas.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
he knows how to
Well,
open sardines, and he's very cute. He's got some spots, and his eyes, because he's a husky mix, kind of look like he got into my makeup. So
okay.
pretty
Well,
fun.
I had some friends that had huskies who loved carrots, and
He
so
loves
they would
carrots.
buy
This is true.
bunches, and I never heard it before then, So you are Desanka Jonan, and you're going to tell us about yourself and your life and your business and whatever else. That time you met President Lincoln, that was so sweet.
Oh, that old time. Well, we don't
Okay.
we don't talk about that, but no. Yes,
That was that was President Janet Lincoln of Costa Rica, just to be clear. Yeah. No,
correct.
go ahead and tell
So,
us whatever you want, however you want to start is fine with me. And remind me to answer that question about editing. I can
oh
do that
yes.
now or later. You want to do it now? Okay, the
Um,
thing. Go ahead.
yeah, no. Whatever you feel comfortable with.
You're the client. You're way too gracious, but something new for me to get used to.
Well, I guess maybe I'll introduce myself and then we can talk about which parts you're going to edit out. Um,
There you go. That's a good idea. Go
so
ahead.
I am I'm Desanka. Well, where do I start? I'm Canadian, so I'm working out of Canada, and I have an educational background in dance, ballet, classical ballet, and Serbian folk dance. And I've done a lot of work in kind of historicizing it in the Canadian immigration context. Um, and a lot of my work has focused on identity formation through dance, which took me into psychology. And I worked as a social worker for a bit. I worked with children and youth in various contexts since I was 15. So I've been doing that for about a lifetime or two.
That's already a lot to unpack. I can see that
It
we're gonna.
is.
I'm trying to
And
not interrupt you because I interrupt too much, but there's several
that's
things
okay,
in there I'd like to explore within the next 75 shows or so.
at
Anyway,
least.
go ahead.
Uh, Good. We'll start with 14 today and we'll see where it takes us. Um, but yeah, I worked with a lot of children and youth and a lot of people in general, just clients. So many different random positions. I was, a child and youth worker. I was a care coordinator. um, career counselor, job coach, like lots of different avenues. Worked with different, within a ballet school and within an agency, and it just kind of took me all over the place.
Wow.
I did some law clerking on the side. It was very interesting. So out of all of this, I really kind of centered down on, I was going to get a psychology degree. And then I started going into towards the counseling piece. And I worked a lot with clients who had trauma and grief. And out of
Wow.
that, I kind of wanted to merge my skills and my training and take it into the corporate world and just continue to help people in a way that wasn't therapy. That's going to be more so an application of skills and driving change and transformation with all of the things that I kind of already have as my little toolbox.
Okay.
So that's a little bit about me, and I've opened my new platform for delivering this transformational change. That is Momentum Coach. So
Okay. So that's your name of your business.
that is the name of my business.
Okay. And
And
what contact information would you like to give our viewers?
so they can visit my website, which is www.momentumcoach.online, and they
Okay.
are welcome to use that website. Really, it'll take them to the Instagram page. It'll take them to my LinkedIn. They can call, they can book, they can really reach me in any ways.
Anything. Okay.
Yeah, the website is the portal.
Momentumcoach.online. Okay, great. Good. And then your background, you know, family, heritage, if you want to share that.
Absolutely. So like I said, I work out of Canada. I immigrated when I was 7, and I came from Serbia. And funny, awesome story. We ended up living at where we call the Danforth, and it's like this beautiful area known for its Greek heritage in Canada.
Okay.
And everyone from that part of the world kind of settled on the Danforth at that time. So I had friends who were Bulgarian, like Macedonian, Greek, and we all kind of just really had such a great time together. It was awesome. So
Okay.
that's a little bit about me. It it didn't feel like I was in a place where I needed to be different from what I know at home.
Right.
Um, Even though we all ended up in various different positions, not necessarily, the multiculturalism piece didn't like make it into everyone's lives, but it definitely it definitely made it into mine. So I
Very
really,
beautiful.
really
That is lovely. That is so lovely. Were you you're you're probably not old enough to remember Yugoslavia or
I
not?
think I think I was born the year it fell apart.
Oh, it was the year
Now,
it fell
we don't want
apart.
to do a cause and effect analysis, but yes,
I just
I was there when it ended.
I know that Yugoslavia was called the country that other leaders patched together to try to make it work. And
Oh,
anyway, so yeah, I just was someday we'll explore that stuff. I'll
that's
have to
that's
go.
gonna be like episode 120 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. Very nice. So you do momentum coaching. Now, what is momentum coaching? What particular services do you provide? What's your bread and butter? That kind of thing.
Okay. So I work with individuals and I do team coaching as well. So whether the package might be a one-on-one sort of session, or it would be a corporate package, and those kind of vary. It could be a 60-minute, could be half a day workshop, could be a full day workshop. We really just look at team building, performance enhancement, and revenue protection. Because people don't even notice how much, you know, it's sort of death by a million paper cuts, but grievances and things that happen at work that kind of are these little slow bleeders for many businesses.
So
And
can you back up the truck because I have a learning disability, like I said, and I'm a dyed in the wool hillbilly besides. So I'm not just ugly, but I'm stupid too. So it's selfie facing humor. That's so you said three parts. One was revenue. I never think of a coach as helping with revenue. Do you? Okay, so you help with revenue. We're going to go through all these
Mhm.
today or some other day. Another one was what?
Performance enhancement.
Performance enhancement. Okay, that's more, I've heard of that. Okay, and then what's the other one? Enhancement. If I could only spell. And then the other one was what? Was there another one?
I think those two, if I can remember what the third one was, I will. But
Okay. So pick one and go into a little detail.
I mean, I can go into detail, probably into both at once, but really the idea is that there is, um, how do I put this? The terms like grit, there's the just get over it aspect of like if they're motivated enough, they'll do it. Let's motivate them
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
The old
idea. And it's
old
like
drill sergeant approach. Yeah,
there's,
yeah.
there's variations to that. And I feel like that that for me is my whole bread and butter because I can get into it in very like in a lot of detail. Um, there is a motivational aspect to all coaching. And of course, if we aren't motivators, what are we?
Yeah.
But then it gets into like, what is holding people back from acting on their motivation? What is it that's going on? And what I find is what I work with is those mental blocks, those those holdups. Whether they're team holdups or they're like individual holdups, and we work through those in a few steps, just kind of looking at trauma and grief skills, like
Huh.
processing
Okay.
skills that don't have to be done in therapy, that are widely applicable. But that,
This is in a business setting, huh?
yeah, it's a little bit of I guess you're bringing that trauma grief processing into the business world in a way that I believe it hasn't been present. Because typically it's a very technical thing that you deal with at business. It's a performance, bottom line, uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
key,
I would
key
think I would
performance
have
metrics
thought
like
that
those.
would be a taboo subject at work. I mean, that's
And I think it has been for the most part because we aren't really taught to grieve, and we don't realize that every moment of getting over something is this myriad of like internal processes that people don't.
how did you get into associating? Yeah, now your degrees are what again?
Applied psychology.
What'd you say?
And applied psychology is
So you have
my
what, a
my
master's,
final degree.
doctorate?
I have a master's in applied psychology. I have a master's in history, and before that, I had a bachelor of fine arts in dance and double major in
Okay,
history.
okay,
Um,
all right.
and many years teaching. So
Yeah, okay, and we'll get to the teaching eventually, hopefully. But this fascinates me that someone could associate. I don't have another way to put it, and associate grief with work. I understand you're saying that yes, we bring our grief with us everywhere, including at work. But for the employer to kind of allow or even entertain, that this person who's underperforming, lost her husband last year. And so that may be a component. And so let's look at that. It makes the employer look pretty good, I think. And how do you, I mean, maybe this is just a Canadian trait or something, but how do you find employers who are gracious enough and hip enough? I mean, in America, we usually, this was a country with a lot of slavery, The mentality here is just shut up and do it. And there's a couple swear words I left out there. So how do you do people call you already knowing that's the process and they want help with it, or how do you get into the marketplace with that message?
Well, chicken and egg. So if I was to start this, I guess there have been times in the past where I've gotten involved in this capacity and it wasn't my job necessarily to do it. But out of that experience came this offering. So because I've been, approached in this capacity to say, okay, what's really going on here? Here's the problem I'm having. And really what it is that conversation starting with, here's the problem I'm having, you know?
And that problem would usually be performance of an employee.
It would be performance of an employee. It might be a performance of a team. It might happen to be in a, just we're like just month over month, this issue keeps recurring. And it's a people issue.
Like that, like they're late with inventory, or they miss a deadline, or they can't close sales, or something
Anything under the umbrella of
under the
performance.
sun. And
Because when we look at, right,
go ahead.
no, no, it's just so, corporate world, if we treat people like they're machines, we notice where they start to error out. And in all of that software is the coding with which those machines work. Let's say we're calling people machines. That's not a good idea.
I
Um,
understand.
so we're not doing that for the purposes of like ethics
Right,
in life. People are not machines. But when they're being treated as such by like the corporate world, and we're looked at as like a profit, or what kind of dollar can you bring in? What is the turnover? What is the return on
right,
investment with
right,
this employee, with this team, with whatever it is? Um, you're forgetting about their software, and you got to update that every once in a while.
right.
And that's the part that kind of gets like we look at all the ways that corporations leave money, which is really like sick leave, turnover, then you have to hire, then you have to train,
Yeah,
and then you
train,
have
yeah,
turnover
yeah.
again.
No,
You have just decrease in performance maybe, and then it's how do you motivate the team? Is it a question of motivation? It might be that you need to really figure out what's happening underneath, which a lot of people don't want to do until they realize there's this recurring problem. It's the same reason, like we're looking at the corporate reason for people to come and say, "Oh, I'm having this problem over and over
you
again."
you don't mind if I have like 1,000 questions already, right, or not?
Not at all. But I'm going to finish this thought just to say,
Okay,
by the
please
time people
do.
go to,
Yeah.
by the time individuals go to therapy, where are they? In their own process, right? They're in a place where they say, like, I need help. And so by the time that somebody wants to have this, they're seeing like a corporation, they're seeing that there's some kind of bleeding out that's happening that they either want to prevent more of, or they're finding that the same problem keeps coming at them and they can't keep throwing money at it. And what they're doing isn't working. So it's a little bit of a, I've done these band-aid solutions, which a lot of corporations will do. They'll like, here's my appreciation week, like the bow tie, and everyone's so appreciated, and then the same problems persist.
Yeah,
Because something
yeah,
systemically has to change. And it doesn't have to be in a very like overturning way. It just has to have analysis and data. Um, and the right knowledge, which is usually human based knowledge, not necessarily what time do they come in and these little like those little like fix ups. Those are really
yeah,
important. Objective fix ups, like whether or not somebody starts a day 15 minutes early or whatever,
yeah.
those are obviously going to be in place. But when it comes to grief in the workplace, and we're not just talking simple grief. Simple grief is when somebody dies. Um, we're talking complex grief, which is like even minor grievances, like all of that's kind of lumped into that same process. And we don't even think about it because you don't have to until it really becomes a serious problem.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
that's a lot, it's a lot to chew on, but
There,
that's
that's
kind of,
there.
I hope that answers your first question.
Well, I'm kind of in shell shock here, to use a World War I term. Uh, boy, that's just,
So
I don't
much.
know. Well, it's hard to. I'm not good at unpacking really complex things. I usually, and allow me to say this, I'm a little, I don't know, I look up to you. You know why I look up to you? Do you have any idea?
Because I'm on your screen at a higher position.
That's it, because you're taller than I am. And the first one to get that joke in since I was a vampire in Transylvania.
That's good.
um, number one, I just can't see very many American companies, and there used to be more of them, but with the current state of affairs, companies are becoming more conservative. They're canceling all their DEI stuff. I'm non-binary, by the way, so it affects me.
Hmm.
Uh, their solution would be, even though it's less cost effective, would be to just fire the person and hire somebody else and pay all the ridiculous, expensive procedure of training someone new and all that. Do you work internationally or not?
Yep,
So
I
there's
do.
more than
I
one
offer
country in which the culture allows people to actually be partially human, huh?
I would I would hope so. I
That's
think in a lot
crazy.
of places, if they're hiring people, then depends. I mean, it all really depends.
Well, you're not saying you go into coaching during interview prep or interview formation or any of that, right? Or like, would
Do
you
you mean
work on the
am
series
I
of questions an interviewer might ask? Are we starting there or what?
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay, well, that's good. That gets me a chance to talk more. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I have no idea.
I'm a one
I'm, I would
wannabe Jay Leno, but I don't have the job for it. Yeah. Uh, so you're helping companies with performance things. And so far, we've talked about the niche within performance of grief and the effect of grief on mostly on work culture. How does grief in someone's life of any particular type, of any degree of severity, cause people to not perform well at work? And so, how in God's name did you get anybody to do that? I don't know. It's because I don't. I mean, I've worked bus boy, fry cook, shoe shine man, selling newspapers, you name it. And most employers I ever met, which, admittedly has been a while back, if you don't perform, they fire you and get somebody else. And they threaten you frequently with that. If you don't do what I want, God damn it, I'm going to fire you and get somebody else. That's very, very, very common. So, how did we get from that to, oh, my employee is having grief or having performance? They may not see the grief. They may just say Johnny's not able to do as well as he did last year. And
Mhm.
I heard that his cousin Martha was robbed or something. And so, how did, you're saying you fell into this because you were in a situation where you helped someone with this, or?
I helped in a number of places, but really it doesn't come down. I would love it if we lived in a world where the corporation said, oh, like I care about my employees. A lot of corporations care about their employees, maybe. But we want to, if the realistic way that
I'm
this would
sorry,
work
this
is
phone's
that
ringing.
revenue is, oh, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I forgot to I use my phone to help a friend, and so I leave it on more than I used to. And now we're in the situation where, and by the way, we have 35 seconds left in the show. I just
Oh,
saw that. So I screwed that up too. Let's see. The phone stopped ringing. So let's do two things. I'll sign out on the show, if I may, and then I will suggest that we take like a 3 to 5 minute break because the machine will reset the Zoom link, and then we'll do another show. I feel like that's the bell telling us we're done. I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface yet. We haven't seen the tip of the iceberg. You're helping me think a little more deeply than I have to day to day, which is nice. All right, folks, with that bell ringing, I am going to say thank you for being here. We love you very deeply. We've been visiting with Desanka Djonin, and we're going to be visiting with her again. So watch episodes 2 through 90. All right.
At least.
Yeah, very good. You're on board with my silliness. That's wonderful. All right, folks. Catch you later. You guys know I always turn my head to shut it off because I have a bigger screen over here.